Hey everyone, welcome back to the Not Only Farmers podcast. It's been a while. It's actually been a long while, but I'm back. Gonna make some more episodes. Looking forward to it. Gonna try a new format this time, kind of a walk and talk format mostly. Sometimes I'll go back to just interviewing people online, but most of the time I'm gonna try to do on-site walk and talk with the farmers and ranchers and producers, just so we can see them in their environment of where they shine the best. I'm gonna try this new format. I'm gonna be here closer to home a lot, doing a lot of work right here in the Applegate Valley of Southern Oregon. Then maybe eventually I'll move outward some. But for now, I wanna see what the people right close to home are up to. This first episode is gonna be with Spencer and Duncan Brons of the Schmidt family vineyard. They're right here in the Applegate. And I talk with them and kind of see what they're doing as far as growing grapes, what they're doing to be more efficient, deal with labor shortages, and then also chat with them about the wine industry as a whole. I thought it was a super interesting conversation. Really enjoyed meeting them. I didn't know them before, even though we've all been here for over 20 years. So I hope you enjoy it too. And I'm looking forward to doing more of these. All right, we'll see you all soon. While we're walking over there, just I think a good place to start would be like, you know, this is a family situation. You guys grew up here, right?
Yeah, for a good chunk of it anyways, yeah.
Yeah, no, we started off like the house next door we lived in when we moved into when I was in we were just going into high school.
Yeah, I would have been a freshman probably.
Yeah.
Where'd you guys go to school?
Sophomore. In Valley.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So before that, we were in the Maryland area. My grandparents bought this property. So anyways, then they bought the property next door a few years later, kind of a thing. So we spent our junior high years planting like the first 15 acres, which would be, over in that corner.
Yeah, and it was a hay and cattle ranch when Cal and Judy bought it. So I think that first summer, all we did was take down fences and put irrigation pipes in the ground.
Yep. And that was like early 2000s, right?
2001.
Yeah, it was 2000. Yeah.
Yeah, so I moved into the valley in 2002.
Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, I was thinking about that last night. I was like looking at the timeline of stuff, and I was like, oh yeah, and like looking at these vines to kind of where they all are from then to now.
Yeah. So you're actually here we're here at kind of a cool time. We are just about ready to burst open here. Some of them are already there. It's really early.
Really early, because what is today, March 20th?
19th today.
Yeah, so right before,
Yeah, and we usually say like an early bud break would be about April 1st. Normal, quote unquote, normal bud break is around the middle of April, so we're almost a whole month early.
And so what all does that do then because a lot of people that like will listen to this will not be familiar with like vineyard culture.
Oh, okay. So in some ways it's great because it gets us extra time to grow grapes this year, which is always great. Frost can be an issue though, because I think this is probably a little bit of a false. We're having a quote unquote heat wave right now, you know. So so I know even I looked like next week we've got a couple mornings that look like we're gonna be down in the low 30s next week. So we're trying to get all the. We're kind of scrambling because normally I would have a couple more weeks. So anyways, I think probably tomorrow we're going to work on getting the frost protection system ready to fire up and test it out because I think we're going to need to run it next week. So.
And so what do you guys do for frost protection here?
We use sprinklers.
It is sprinkler, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, and when everybody has wind machines now, when we first started, there were no wind machines around, and my grandma told my grandpa that we were not going to be the first one to put a wind machine in. So
fair enough.
So we went with sprinklers. Which work great. We have access to a lot of water, so it works pretty well.
That's how I learned growing vegetables for, like 25 years. And that's where I learned the whole frost protection thing was from the vineyard, my vineyard friends. And I was like, oh, at the end of the season to keep my peppers going, I just turn my irrigation on, keep it running through the night. And then I'd have peppers that go on through like October, November.
Yeah. My only thing I don't like about it is ours is not automated. So I have a frost alarm that sits next to my bed. So this time of year, the alarm is on, and when it goes off, I got to get up in the middle of the night and come over and turn sprinklers on. So
have you guys been then like part of almost every season since you were kids in some way or another, like since you guys first started doing stuff here? Or did you guys have a time that you guys both dipped out for a while, or?
I dipped out for a long while.
Yeah.
Duncan's been here for basically the whole. Well, I guess you were gone for not long though.
Yeah, I was gone for, I don't know, maybe a couple years, right? Like, gosh, what was that? That was like right after I graduated high school.
Yep.
Maybe a year, or maybe probably about a year. It wasn't real long. But my first role here was not really involved with the vineyard or winery aspect of the business.
Well, besides the first 4 years that we were like planting.
That's true. No, I built like the tasting room. None of that was there when we started here.
Right.
So I did a lot of the construction work for a long time. And then 2009 was the first vintage that I saw from vineyard to bottle. And then I took over the vineyard management in 2012.
How have you guys like figured out what varietals that you were going to do was that grandpa and grandma always determined that, or how does that work? Or I mean, I know some of it's the industry too, right?
Cal's like in a unique position because this is like he's wanted to do this for a long time. A lot of this is more of like a hobby, kind of amuse type thing, especially with the varietals. He tends to just show up and like, here's what we got, or here's what I want to do. You know, like they went on vacation, like had a nice Barbera. Came back, like we're planting Barbera. You know, we planted some excess Pinot at one point because the industry, yada, yada, yada. But I think that was the only thing we've ever planted that was just like because of sales.
Yeah.
Everything else has always just been like, because I want to.
Yeah. Well, and I was like looking through on your website last night, and I was like, there's a lot of, I'm not a big wine person, but like I've known it enough and been around it long enough, and there's a lot of stuff on there. I'm like, what is this? You know, it's like really cool actually.
Well, and the other thing is, is that most vineyards you'll find like have like a, you know, we specialize in French varietals or whatever. You know, I mean, we have a hodgepodge. We specialize in what Cal Schmidt likes.
Yeah, that's great. we literally have a little bit of everything, I think, or almost everything. So yeah. So and actually, this is Grenache right here. I don't know if I said that when we got out here.
And how old are these vines?
This, what is it? It's 2026. We probably planted this in what was the first? We have a 24.
First vintage is 23.
Yeah, so we would have planted it probably in 2020.
Is your guys' trellis system like similar throughout, or is there evolutions that are happening in how you guys are trellising and growing and head training and all that kind of stuff?
No, all the trellising is virtually the same. The only thing we changed, the original vineyard over there, Cal really liked doing the big H-brace system on the end. You see it on a lot of fences and stuff, and it's a nice system, but we've mechanized a lot of our vineyard operation, and that having that horizontal post really messes things up. So once we kind of realized that was a problem, we've gone with a single head post, but this is what they call VSP, which is vertical shoot position. So and it keeps a nice tight canopy, so you can get because we have a lot of over the row equipment.
Oh, for mechanical harvest?
Yes, we have a mechanical harvester, and we've got a number of the tools that will they hang off of the side of a tractor. So like our hedger would be hanging over here and going back and forth. So so yeah, we having that big sprawl or whatever, all the different iterations of it doesn't work well with the equipment.
So that's something that I'm always interested in, because coming from the vegetable world, it's like everybody starts at like, 1 acre, a garden, and then you start scaling up because you're trying to like make it work. And then you start mechanizing, and you start figuring out all these cool tools, that work. When in your guys' stage did you start realizing you had to like mechanize? Was there a moment, or was it?
We made the big investment in that equipment. I think it was 2017 or 18. And a lot of that had to do with we had a really hard time getting labor when the hemp and marijuana boom was going on. So and that especially is what spurred on the harvester. And labor's just gotten so expensive. The mechanizing is
well, and from my end of things, I think the quality of wine went up a lot too. Yeah, because we were having a hard time hitting those target numbers. So like if we needed to get like pick on a certain day, the bricks were where they were, we check in the afternoon kind of a thing, like, okay, we want to pick that this morning. We couldn't get a crew in time, and then we would get a smaller crew than we would want. So the next thing you know, you're picking late and at a, while it's hot and yada, yada, yada. And then, so now we're able to like get our timing just right.
Yeah. No, and like, some like to Spencer's point, some varietals really, it's really important to bring them in while the fruit's still cool. So, it only takes 2 or 3 of us to go harvest with the harvester. So like we can, and we all live on the property now, so we can go start at you know, 4 a.m. and we can be done before the sun comes up, even if we want to.
Yeah.
Or, you know, if you've got weather coming or there's some sort of issue and you need to get it now, you just, you know, go out and fuel it up and away you go. So
I mean, it's kind
great.
of amazing. I mean, it's kind of like, I mean, you guys would be considered a small vineyard, I think, on the grand scheme of things, right?
Yeah,
I think.
absolutely.
Well, I think I just looked at this. The Oregon average. We're smack dab in the middle of the median for Oregon, I believe.
Which is what is it, like ballpark?
It's like 45 acres.
And I think that's what a lot of like my friends that are in the world of vegetables are seeing now too, is like what used to be small, you know, like, and then they've grown up, they feel like they're huge, but you're really not that big compared to the hundreds of thousands of acres of carrots or whatever, you know, and so, but now there's equipment that's starting to come available to let you mechanize more because labor is just, it's gone.
Yeah.
Especially here.
Yeah.
You know, which it's good that you guys were ahead of the curve in some ways. Like, it's kind of like that double-edged sword of like that whole hemp and weed time here in Southern Oregon. Like, if you didn't respond to that, you probably went under. Yeah. Honestly, and then you guys did that, but now it's like positioned you good for now in 2026, because now all the labor is just completely gone, is how it feels like to me.
Yeah, I mean, we're running the vineyard on with, you know, myself, Spencer's son, when he's not in school, he does a lot of our mowing and doing all that kind of equipment, running tractors a lot, and then we've got two vineyard workers right now, and
that's awesome.
We're more or less keeping up with it, you know, whereas back then we'd have 10 guys.
Yep.
Year round,
yeah. Yeah, all year.
And that's the challenge too, right? With like year round is like you have that time of year where you're like, what do we do today? You know, but you don't want to let them go because you want to keep them on year round to make sure you have them.
Yeah, exactly.
When you need them.
So yeah, from a cost standpoint, and also I totally agree with Spencer. I think being able to pick that fruit, especially with the harvester, is really great. You know,
that's one of those things where you just have to like work through the numbers initially and be like, "Ooh, this is gonna hurt," but then you realize that the payback is there.
Yeah, you know, honestly, we worked with the dealer that we bought it from. We actually wound up buying a used one, and it took him a while to find one that we could make pencil. So because I don't know if you're familiar with them, a lot of them will have a cab and an engine on them, and it's its own standalone tractor. So what they wound up finding for us was it was a lightly used, it's a tow behind.
Oh,
so it's got the exact same picking equipment on it, but it's powered off of another tractor, and we've already got a couple vineyard tractors.
I was gonna say, and it's a vineyard tractor that fits in your alleyways,
yeah,
right?
and it's like, you know, it's a piece of equipment we already own, so that almost cut the price in half on a used one anyways. And
oh, that's cool. I didn't know they had tow behinds.
Yeah, they're not, you don't see very many of them, but I think we're the only one in Southern Oregon that has one, because I know I had to get it worked on this last year. And the guy goes, "Man, I'm not real familiar with this thing."
Right. Yeah, well, that's the other hard thing now I'm finding, is because so much of the ag industry is kind of like tapered here a bit, you know, now getting things worked on is harder than it used to be. So
yeah,
you have to kind of get innovative yourself sometimes.
Yeah, we've got Pape Machinery out of Medford carries. They carry the brand that we have, so it's they don't have guys down here that are trained on it though, so you usually have to send somebody down from Roseburg out of that store to work on it. But you know, it's not, they're fairly close. So
so what other stuff would be interesting to know about your guys' vineyard, like the actual vines and the whole what's going on here, as far as like methodology with how you guys manage everything? Like, I don't even know, like fertility, any of that kind of stuff. Do you have to deal with much at this point, or are this, because a lot of people that might listen to this might not understand how amazing the soils are here in Oregon.
Yeah, gosh, well, one thing that I think is a little bit unique on this piece of property, especially, we've got 3 different soil types, so we do deal with that.
And you plant accordingly, or when you can't, kind of like our white block, which is when you come in the driveway that you're kind of driving alongside of right there. Those are our whites, and it goes from up at the north end of the blocks of loamy soil, then it gets into real heavy clay on the south end, and then the east side's gets real rocky. So it's kind of it makes the irrigating a little bit interesting, because if we go back and do it again, I'd split the irrigation, because it's pretty wild. You can stand, and like in the middle of summer when you've got full canopy,
you can stand at one end of the vineyard, and without even walking down there, you can almost see where this break in the soil is, because the upper you get, the growth is so different.
Yep.
So we got to kind of water for you're trying to water to please both.
Mhm.
A couple things we don't do. You'll hear a lot of vineyards talk about water stressing their plants, especially late in the season. We do not believe in that theory. We'd like to keep the plants kind of fat and healthy as much as we can. I think that makes them. There's some reasons for that. There's a grapevine virus that is kind of not well known. We think we may or may not have it in portions of this vineyard. So it's everybody around here has it. So anyway, so we try to keep the plants.
You want to keep the
happy
health up
because of that. Yeah.
Yep, that makes sense.
Yeah. We're pretty religious on compost. We have a huge compost pile back there. We have a little spreader that we can spread it. So every year after harvest, we spread compost in the vineyard. We don't make enough to cover all 40 acres, but we can do about a third of it every year. So we're kind of on like a three-year rotation.
And is that like just made from like what comes out of the winery at the end of the year?
Yep.
And all the leaf cuttings and all that?
Yep. I was gonna say, yeah, everything, all the, after we do all our pressing and all our fermentations, all that goes back in.
Yep.
All the stuff the landscaper pulls off, whenever he mows, it all goes out there.
Cool.
Cal we actually bought a wood chipper 2 years ago. So like when we do all our tree trimming and everything, we'll chip all that, and we get, wood chips in there too. And then some years we'll do like a wine trade with the dairy down there. Get a little bit of manure mix in there, get it good and hot. So, and then as far as all the cuttings from when we prune, those just fall into the row, and then we just mow them back in. Grapes, you don't get the option to rotate crops.
That's right. You got to figure out how to do it in place.
Yeah, so you got to kind of do that. I'm actually pretty excited. There's an equipment auction in Medford. We scored a very inexpensive narrow seed drill specifically for vineyards. So
cool.
So we haven't picked it up yet, but so we can cover crop. So you can help soil health a lot by planting different things, and in the off season. So we're gonna try that next year. So.
And would you like take like the greenways that are in here? Would you go through and reseed that every couple of years? Or?
Yeah, I think a lot of folks will do. I think some folks will do it every year. So I'm gonna have to educate myself on it a little bit. Just because we haven't had the equipment to be able to do it. And
yeah, that's exciting though.
Anyways, that's something I've wanted to get for a long time. They're very expensive. So anyways, we got this one for pennies on the dollar.
Is it like a Brilliant or one of those, or?
It's red. I don't know. I don't know what brand it is.
Yeah. I get it. The red one.
Yeah, the auction was yesterday.
Yeah.
So yeah, we went down and looked. I should have paid attention to it, but yeah, trying to get a little skinny one like that is kind of.
They're hard to come by.
Yeah, and the ones we've found, man, they are like about 10 grand, and they just felt like that's just way more money than we should spend on. So I think we got this one for less than $1,000.
Yeah. And
it looks almost new. So.
Yeah, and then you guys would go through and like at the end of the season, like disc your pathways then, and.
Yeah, I think we'll probably have to soften these up a little bit. So yeah, we're probably doing some discing to soften it up. Yeah, and then seed it. So.
Yeah, it's like the one interesting thing that I found out of the whole like the hemp and weed world was how many of the existing farms that are still doing that are now adapting their like growing schemes to look more like vineyards.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's really interesting. So now I know a lot of guys that are still surviving off of that, and they've gone to more of like a perennial setup where. But I mean, they still have to plant their plants every year.
Yeah.
But the pathways they're keeping more perennial, kind of like what you guys do, and it's kind of interesting to see. And some of them are even looking to do like trellis systems and like that are more permanent.
Interesting.
Yeah, you just have to then go back in and plug them in each year.
Right.
So
I gotcha.
Yeah,
I'm glad. I know that first couple years, man, we had, I think it was probably a combination of things, but that first year that we really couldn't get anybody out here, we had a major powdery mildew problem, and there was a lot of hypothesizing that it was.
Oh, it was just in the air.
Yeah, because they said a lot of the guys that are growing hemp and marijuana didn't, they're not seasoned farmers, so they
Yeah.
probably didn't think about, fungicides or anything like that. And
Yep.
it got in the air, and then so it was like a combination of that, and then that was the first year we had such a labor problem.
Right.
Some of these grape rows got so overgrown we couldn't even get a tractor down it without damaging the vines, so we got behind on our spray program.
I know.
Like, oh my God.
Well, you bring
So-
any other agricultural enterprise into an area and think about how quickly it infiltrated.
It just so fast.
It went from like nothing to the entire valley. I mean,
Yeah.
like soil trucks were running from sun up to sundown.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, this is nuts.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
no, I-
going up everywhere.
Yeah, I know. I remember you used to you drive from here to Jacksonville, and like it just seemed like every piece of bare ground had hemp or marijuana. You're like, oh my gosh, wow.
Yeah. And here we are now, and there's just like
There's almost none.
it's
Yeah.
so quiet
Yeah.
now. What about water up here? Are you guys? How does that exist up here on this? Like, is this considered like the Kubli shelf? Do they call it like a shelf?
Yeah,
Bench, that's
people
what it
call
is.
the
Yeah,
Kubli
yeah.
bench. Yeah, yeah. No, we're fortunate on the property here. We have a lot of water.
That's great.
Just on the property.
Yep.
And then we also have very old water rights to the irrigation ditch that runs North Applegate. So we don't use it a whole lot, but every once in a while it's nice to have.
But we filled the
if we
pond
need-
off that.
Yeah, we filled the
And
pond
then, and
off
like
of
the
it.
pond is what runs like the frost protection stuff when we're.
Oh,
that's-
I see.
It's
Kind
kind
of
you can.
our buffer.
Yeah, like when Duncan turns it on, I'll come in the morning, and I mean the thing will be down 6 feet, in a
It'll-
couple of hours, and it's a big pond.
Yeah. When we're pumping, we're pumping like 1,500 gallons a minute out of it when we're frost protecting. So it's a lot of water. So, but yeah, no, we had to drill a new well. Probably 5 years ago, we put that well in.
Oh yeah, for the tasting room.
Yeah, and it hit. I think they drilled. I think it's 140 feet deep, and it was the driller said it was doing like 120 gallons a minute.
Oh, that's great.
It's a monster. And then the one that's over at the houses next door, it's huge like that. And we have, every well on this piece of property does 60 plus.
Oh, that's great.
Well, and the only reason we had to redrill that well is not because anything was wrong with the old one. Just they changed the regulations for having a public space. We had to.
Right.
Yeah,
It has to have its own water source, kind of base.
We had to. I forget exactly what they call it, but basically,
It had to do with the liner in that they wanted it pulling water deep, and the well we had was perforated. It wasn't solid pipe down far enough.
Totally understand.
And we had a couple different well folks come out, and they said honestly, it's gonna cost you the same to just drill a new well than to try to modify this one, because he said trying to get that out. And anyways, so the state determined that we were a public water system, I think is the word.
yeah, the tasting room was like a public. Yeah, exactly.
So then all the rules changed.
which I think they went and
They
did everybody
got
in the
everybody.
valley.
Because
Like,
the guy that drilled ours, he goes, when I called him, he goes, yeah, I just drilled a well for Troon for the exact same reason.
Funny how it works like that.
yeah. So they were out getting everybody. But yeah, it was one of those things. We would test the old well. We tested annually, and it never failed. It was always clean and everything. But they just because you get classified as this different thing, the rules are different, and
Feel the pain and move on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So.
Yeah, you want to go walk through some of your equipment and stuff? Yeah, I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah, we can do that. So this is mostly just, this stuff here doesn't really get used a whole lot. That spring tooth, I love taking that through the vineyard. It's fast, kind of chews the ground up a little bit.
That's one of my favorite pieces of equipment ever. It's
Yeah.
so easy.
You just gotta, you gotta make sure all your shoots from pruning are ground up real good. Otherwise they just ball up and
Oh yeah.
Make a big old mess. So, and then we just use a standard mower out there. We used to use a flail mower, and it didn't mow real good, and it was kind of slow. This thing here, you can just rip up and down those rows. It gets you a nice cut. Spencer's son can run that tractor like a race car out there.
And now we're doing, we mow versus spraying the middle. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. And then this is our we call this an air blast sprayer. So we use it for anytime you gotta spray foliarly out there, we do it. So it injects the whatever you're spraying out of these nozzles, and then the fan just blows it all through there, so it gets in there real good. So
Is sulfur like something that you guys use a lot? I mean, it seems like that's a pretty common.
yeah. So we use if I could get away with using sulfur all summer long, I would.
But then do you get burned in the middle of the heat?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So they say you shouldn't go if you can't be over. I think it's 90, either 90 or 95. I can't remember. 90 degrees within 3 days of spray. So like, you know, once you get past the end of June, you're kind of, yeah, because sulfur's cheap. It's still considered organic. I actually just went to Grape Day at OSU last week, and they were talking about powdery mildew resistance to fungicides, and they said sulfur's still one of the best because it's just it works on so many different levels, whereas like you get a synthetic fungicide, they'll have a certain mode of action, and you know, so they're talking about, you know, trying to rotate all your different groups of sprays, but they said, you know, sulfur you don't really have to rotate because it hits it from like 4 different directions, so it works great and it's cheap.
As an elemental too, you know, it's like
Yeah.
there's like a nutrient benefit there too. I mean, not like a straight nutrient, but you
Yeah.
know, there's like synergy that happens, which
Yeah.
is kind of cool.
Yeah, so we do that, and then I get like a kelp product that I buy from a guy over in Crescent City that I really like. It's liquid, it's just got a ton of stuff in it. So that's the harvester. So when it's hooked up, the tractor would be hooked up here. This is a hydraulic power pack. So the PTO goes on there, and the tractor would carry this, and then it's hitched up right there. So it's sitting down on its belly right now. So when you're out there, it'll be raised up. It basically, the vine goes, so this hitch offsets. So like when you're actually harvesting, the tractor's sitting over here, and it's going over the row next to you.
So do you have to redo trellising on the whole vineyard when you?
No, the only thing we had to do, fortunately, Cal, you know, had kind of the foresight that if we ever did mechanize anything, we would want to be on VSP, so that worked out good.
Oh, cool.
We did have a few areas, like we have some trees out in the vineyard, so we had to back some of the head posts up a little bit from the trees just to get turnaround space and all that. That was about all we had to do, so it wasn't bad. And it actually, I was kind of afraid we'd really beat the vineyard up, but it does a pretty good job.
That's cool.
It's pretty gentle, so.
Probably has to be similar. I have a friend up in the Willamette that he works for a company that does blueberries.
Okay.
It
yeah.
must be similar.
I think it is similar. And then
Yeah.
like the ones they use for picking olives when they trellis them, it's a very similar machine.
It harvests them, and then does it immediately go to a hopper, or is it all on site? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, so one of the big benefits,
Oh, I see.
So it actually has an onboard destemmer. So what it does when it's harvesting, actually if you look in the back of it, it has these catch plates here. Okay. Those guys there, they'll be shaken.
Yep.
So they shake all the fruit off, and then it'll all fall onto these little conveyors on the sides, and then it gets carried up top. These are blowers, so like if you get leaves or any light stuff, it blows a lot of that off. So you kind of crank these things up. They'll actually spin hard enough you can suck fruit right out of it. So you kind of crank them up as high as you can to where you're not sucking fruit out.
Right.
And then underneath those little orange covers up there are actually little miniature destemmers. So
Cool.
anything that comes off that still has a stem attached to it gets sorted, and then all the fruit and juice will go into these tanks on either side. And then these things here would be spinning, and they're spaced, and I can control the speeds on all this stuff from the cab. So you can kind of set your speed so the berries fall through, and then anything that's like a leaf or a jack or anything that still stays on can kind of skip over and get thrown off the side. The one thing that's nice too, when you do reds, you don't have to destem it once it gets in the vineyard or in the winery. So we actually take the fermenters out to the field. So when we dump off of here, it's ready to just go. We bring it up, weigh it, and put it right inside the winery.
And it's ready to roll.
It's ready to roll. That's an under vine tiller. So if we do get weeds that are out of control.
Is that like a weed badger or one of those kind of
Yeah, it's kind of
things?
like it. So what it does, it's folded up right now. When you're running, these little tiller heads pop out, so that knife runs maybe
cool.
an inch below the surface, and then so it's kind of cutting all the things off, and then those little tillers are spinning and grinds it all up, and then
Yeah, those tines are way, like the weed badgers I've seen before are more like hay rake tines.
Oh, yes, okay. Yeah,
where this has got actually like tiller blades. It's almost like a Rotera kind of thing. That's cool.
Yeah, so it works pretty good. We didn't use it last year, but and then this is they call this a wire lifter. So it's a way to mechanically tuck your vines into the trellis. So basically what you do, you just send your crew through, they drop the wires off, and 2 guys can do it about as fast as you can walk a row, so it goes pretty fast. But they go through, and basically I'll pull up to the row, and then the wires drop in here, and it's off the side of the tractor, and then you'll drive down, and it basically pulls the wires up and then pinches them, and then this thing will put these little well, they're hard to get out of there. They call them staples, but they're little plastic clips that'll put them on the wires to hold the wires together.
Oh, right.
So, and then you run this thing from inside the cab of the tractor. You hit the trigger on the joystick, and it clips it every time you do it. So,
wow.
So yeah, so we can mechanically tuck with that. This is a leaf puller. So when it's in operation, it lays on its side, and this will be, there's a blower in it. It sucks the leaves against here, then they get caught on this wheel, and it just plucks the leaves off. So we try to, once the berries are sized up, we try to remove some of the leaves from the fruit zone, get a little bit more sun, a little bit more, like, get better spray penetration and all that kind of stuff. So we don't do it on everything. Some of the whites, like Sauvignon Blanc or Gruner, we don't do that. We want to try to maintain some of that green, kind of the green notes to it.
Because otherwise you would get like the sun would bleach it out and you'd lose some of that.
Yeah, it makes a big difference on the flavor and aromatics you get on those, especially in the,
I see.
when you make the wine out of it.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, the fruit just comes in sunburn.
It comes in sunburn, yeah.
And then
so
that off flavors it too.
Yeah, so instead of getting green berries, you're getting yellow fruit.
Right.
So, which on Chardonnay, like you want some of that, but and Albarino. Actually, I don't think we pulled leaves on Albarino last year. We experimented. So.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah.
Huh. And then is that for trimming along?
That's a hedger. So, and then basically all these orange tools.
Yeah, all the same company.
All the same brand, yeah. And then they mount on that mast that's on the John Deere. So the arm that's on the front stays on, and then you change.
Oh, a plug and play.
Yeah. So it's got. And then we have stands for everything. So this is a pre-pruner.
Yeah.
This is the last thing we use. So it basically takes the shoots down to about 6 inches, and then it cuts them into little pieces. So, and then that way the guys can go through and then they just do the final cuts by hand. It saves a lot of time.
And if the zombie apocalypse happens, you guys are like set up.
You could shred someone with that thing pretty good, yeah. So
I mean, all this stuff, you guys are ready, Mad Max style.
Yeah. So this it all comes apart right here. So this thing,
I see.
You put the legs under it and drop it down. It's got electrical and hydraulic, and you can just drive over to that one and hook on and pick it up.
Is this the tractor then that runs the harvester too?
Yes.
Taking
that mast on and off is a royal pain in the butt.
I was gonna say, I bet.
Yeah, because you have to get it off to run the harvester. So.
So how many horsepower is like this machine? Do you know?
These two are both 90s, and then that one over there is a 75. We had a lot of problems with this tractor. We finally got it all figured out, but 2 years ago we harvested with that one because it.
And was that almost underpowered?
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of wonder. Yeah.
They say the minimum for that is 90. That one will do it, but it works it real hard. Are
you guys so I have a Landini, so are you finding parts are harder and harder all the time now? Yeah, and they're more and more expensive. Yeah, I just had a 1 foot hydraulic hose for my power steering, and I had to come from Italy. It was $600. Oh wow! For a 1 foot hose because it had a special fitting. So I finally went to Medford and like dug deep and found an older guy that had done logging, like hydraulic hoses forever, and he fabricated a piece for me for like $50. Oh, nice. But it's kind of like you have to get innovative sometimes. Yeah. You know. Yeah. No, this one's in right now. There's the alternator's in getting rebuilt because. Yep. It's you know the smell of overcharged battery. Oh yeah. I keep getting that smell in the cab, so we have a mobile mechanic that if it's not the Deere, he can work on pretty much anything else. Yep. So anyways, he came out and I said, I think this thing's overcharged. And he said, yep, it sure is. So anyways. I like the Landinis. It's just unfortunate that they've just completely moved out of America now. So they're just not much. Yeah, I haven't ordered anything in probably 2 years, but I did find a dealer called Mank Equipment up in Northern Oregon. Oh. So cool. And they're pretty good. The lady in the office, what she usually does, I'll send her a picture of my data plate with serial number, and then she has parts diagrams for anything. So you can be like we broke one of the doors. Right. A couple years ago, and so I said, I need this, and then she sends me the schematic over with all the part numbers of everything, and then so I highlight what I need, send it back to her, and she orders it. But yeah, no, I know that's the thing. I know Rogue Valley Farm Equipment used to sell those. That's who we bought it from. Yep. But yeah, they've gotten out of that business, and so there's not many left. Yeah. Here in the US. Yeah, I really like this tractor a lot. It's really comfortable and everything, and it's quiet, but it's just Pape's the only folks that can work on it, because the first thing they do when they pull up, they get their laptop out and go sit in it for 20 minutes. They plug in. Try to figure out what's wrong with it.
Well, and this thing spent half its life broke down probably.
It has. Yeah. No, we finally got it squared away. There's people listening to this episode
right now screaming and yelling about John Deere's. I guarantee it.
Well, we found out after we bought this thing, it's not even made by John Deere.
Oh, really?
It's made by Carraro in Italy, and it's painted green. And gets John
Oh,
Deere
so it's like a
stickers on it.
Ferrari then, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. That's interesting.
No, I had a guy come do some work on it a while ago that wasn't from, and he goes, I'm trying to figure this thing out. He goes, it says it's a Deere. He's like, but it's got the same engine as that tractor.
Huh.
He's like, I don't get it. So anyways, I like the New Holland a lot. It's easy to work on.
Yep.
Napa has a lot of parts for
Yeah,
it.
because they're like basically a Ford, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this, you can't even buy the air filters. The only place you can get them from is John Deere. Like that, I can go to Napa and get all the filters, everything for it. And same with this.
Yeah, it's super interesting to see that the same thing's happening to you guys. So I grew up in the Midwest in Missouri, and so all my friends back there that have been farming forever, a bunch of them now are getting out Grandpa's old tractors, all the Massies and all the Internationals from way back when, and they're just reducing their acreage because they're just like, why don't we just do less acreage and then we can get parts for all this stuff.
Well, other than getting parts, this thing's pretty simple, compared to these two.
Yep.
This thing, everything's computerized. But yeah,
that's a really simple tool set, really, if you think about it.
Yeah, so that's we do pretty much all the vineyard work. We do have that one red thing back there. That's a desuckering machine, so it like has big rubber strings, and when you get all those suckers that come out around the base of the plant, so you just go down and it just kind of goes like this. It just kind of beats all the leaves off of them, and then those little shoots die off.
As opposed to then the woody stuff that's there is not affected by it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, it works, and that works pretty good. And because either that or you have to do they make sprays that they call them burn down sprays. You can spray that stuff off, but it's super expensive.
Right.
Obviously, we're never going to get completely away from spraying, but we try to keep it to a minimum.
It's funny how it's moving people. Like, I don't even get into the discussion of like organic versus not and all that kind of stuff, but it's interesting how people are pushing more towards that like lower input just because of cost now. Like it's really driving people to kind of get back to the old ways because of that, because mechanical is kind of paying better than doing the input thing. Super.
Well, once you buy something,
It's a one-time cost.
you've got it.
Right.
You got to repair it every once in a while, but yeah, once you.
What's the part that you like the best about what you do on the daily?
I'm involved in the winemaking too, so I really enjoy, like right now, last week or so, I'm pretty much out in the field every day. But then like in the winter time, there's not a whole lot happening in the vineyard. We do pruning and that kind of stuff, but I kind of get to wear a lot of different hats, which I really like. Like next, we've been spraying and mowing and doing all that, and like next week we got 2 days of bottling to do, so I'll go in the winery,
Jump in there.
bottling line set up, and get all that done. And I don't know. I think I like working. I like being around the family and everybody. So I think it's kind of it's a unique thing that we have. It's one of the parts of being here that I really like.
And have you two always gotten along as brothers?
I think so.
Yeah.
Haven't killed each
We
other
all
yet?
have our moments. But
Well, of course.
I don't know if we've had our moments too much. I guess we've
No,
had one or two.
not too much. No, Spencer and I think
Jive well.
Yeah, we jive pretty
And
well.
I feel like we're very, complimentary, I would say.
Yeah.
Because you're nuts and bolts, and I like to.
Yeah. What's your favorite part about being out here and living this this
honestly,
world?
I would say I always have the same answer Duncan just said. Which is, my favorite part is because I went away for longer than Duncan, did drafting and whatnot, but I was away from my family a lot. And so I was just trying to get back, just trying to simplify my life. Anyways, I came back. I just like, the thing I like the most is just being around everybody. Because, I come here, but, my kids, I got to go pick up my youngest from school in an hour, and he's going to be running around here with my grandma, and, and then, so he's going to be, with his great-grandma. My mom's here. She's, working together today on sales for some chain stores in the office, and, and Duncan's kids will be running around, and it's the communal living part is super fun. I really like it. I know, and I think it takes a special. I think I'm really appreciative to Cal and Judy for they have another family business that still operates in town, and I think they learned a lot from that because I feel like they set a good culture up for it to work.
That's huge.
Yeah, totally. Because I feel like there's ways that could go south, but I don't feel that way.
Off top of your head, what would those how do they set it up culturally? What do you think those components are.
What do I think? I know I've heard my grandma say a number of times, basically just, and I think this is a big part of it, just like, just learn to keep my mouth shut and let people do what they're gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly think that is a big part. Like we all kind of have. I think another big part of it is like we all have, because I don't feel like anybody's like, we are very communicative. We communicate a lot. It's definitely not like a shut up, don't say anything kind of a family. But I would say, yeah, there is a lack of a controlling spirit, if you will, that Cal and Judy have kind of set up to where we all kind of have our space. They don't interfere too much. And I think, too, we all have our own areas that are, we know where, like, we have autonomy, which I think is big, where we each like, this is my area, this is your area, yada, yada, yada when it comes to this. I am the point person when it comes to this.
Yeah, I think we've never even per se sat down and like discussed where those lines are. I think everybody just kind of got that. I mean,
well, that's a family unit right there, right? It just finds its equilibrium,
yeah,
right?
And I think, so I know like dealing with Cal. I mean, he's the big boss around here. So when there's certain things I know that I can make a decision on, and there's certain things I'm gonna need to go talk to him about this one, and I do appreciate it. He for the most part does not micromanage too much. Pretty free to do whatever we need to do, or do it the way that we think it should be done. And it's pretty rare that Cal will come in and say, we're not doing that, we're going to do it my way. That doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, and most of the stuff we do, I mean, most of our decisions, I would say, are extremely democratic.
They are, yeah.
Like everything, like there's no winemaking decision that ever gets done, or decision on basically anything. Yeah, it's always like, the winemaking decisions, generally there's like a check sheet in the office, everybody walks through and makes a vote.
Yeah.
And then Cal might pull rank and just say like, well, I don't care, but
yeah.
But that's kind of easier that way, right? Because then
Totally, and he's very big. I mean, if we, he wants buy-in from everybody on the things, and there's a lot of discussion that goes on before we do anything major or whatever, and things are very all the points of view are considered.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's kind of like the captain of the ship analogy always works. Like if you're out at sea, right? Like the captain is up in the main, behind the wheel, but it's like the rest of the crew's kind of doing their thing. And you have to trust that they're going to do their thing right.
Totally.
Because if you try to micromanage it, you're not going to get around to everybody, and then everybody's going to hate you.
Yeah.
So after here, then it goes up into the winery. As far as, is that the next step that we should look at, or?
Yeah. Let's go.
Yeah, let's do it.
I started at 4:30 this morning, so I'm ready to be done whenever.
You're in summer hours already.
Yeah. I sprayed this morning, so I usually try to get an early start.
Yep.
And spraying that. He sprayed some lime sulfur this morning. It hates that stuff. It stinks to high heaven.
Oh, it's strong.
But we figured this year, because we left some fruit on the vine last year, so the lime sulfur kind of helps clean up if there's any mold spores or anything left over from last season.
Oh, yeah.
And we left some fruit out there, which I probably should have harvested it and just dumped it on the compost pile. I didn't do that, and I don't know who says yay or nay on this, but I heard everybody says we're going to have a bad powdery mildew season this year, so that's why I want to make sure the vineyard starts clean.
Is that because it didn't get too cold? Do you think it has something to do with that? Because it was so mild?
And then I also heard a lot of, heard it said at that OSU thing the other day, there were a lot of people are very concerned about a lot of people are not going to farm their vineyards this year because
they're just going to let it sit?
Yeah. So there's a lot of people that are really concerned that those vineyards are going to become problems for the vineyards that are operating.
Right.
So
well, if they need case studies, then we can just go back and look at all the hemp farms that just got left. Be like, don't do this.
Yeah. Actually we should, well, here I can show you. We probably should. I was too busy.
No, it's all good.
So all those bins over there, that's what we would take out to the field and dump into the harvester. So the whites, we still have to press them right when they come in. So we'll take those the smaller bins there.
Yep.
We'll take those out, and then as they come in, they get dumped into the press, and we make juice out of them right away. Then the taller bins would be for the reds, and those just get weighed and come right in. On the other side of the van there, it's kind of hard to see that big stainless steel thing. That's our receiving line for red fruit. So we don't really use it much because the harvester has all that built into it.
Oh, so it just eliminates a lot of that.
It eliminates that. So we do a little bit of custom crush. So like when those folks bring their reds over,
Oh, I see. Right, because they wouldn't have the machine running through.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they're one of those folks. I've told them they're not far from here. I said we could drive the harvester down there and harvest for you, but he's got those tees in his vineyard.
Oh.
So I said whenever you're ready to take the tees off, we can do that.
Yep.
So, and then this would be our fermentation area here for reds anyway. So these things here lower down. I'll take all the lights down. These would lower down. This is our uncorked setup. So these would lower down. All those bins would be in here in rows. So and this just gives us temperature control on the fermentations.
Oh, I see.
So we can those lines are either heated or cooled glycol. So we have these stainless steel panels that you plug in, and then they go down inside the bin.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So just like backwards radiators, basically, huh?
Exactly. So and then whites go straight to a tank, and we would settle them for a couple of days, and then ferment them in the tank.
The whites will ferment pretty cold.
Yeah, they'll ferment like 60 degrees, and they'll take whites usually is 2 to 3 weeks. A lot of times, sometimes even longer. It depends on the yeast. Certain yeast ferment faster than others. The reds, we ferment them as what we call must, which is basically berries and juice. That's where you get the color on reds. So if they don't spend that time on the skins, you'll get a rosé out of it.
I see.
So usually when we're fermenting, we always we're checking the color, make sure we get the color we want out of it.
For rosés.
Yeah, for rosés, and even on the red, sometimes like if we have a red that goes through fermentation really fast, sometimes we'll let it go a little bit longer in the bin just to get a little bit more color out of it.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of times we're doing cold soaks too.
Yeah.
Get a little more of that before we start fermentation on the reds.
Yeah.
And that just means before you're adding yeast at all, or that's what so it's just doing what it's doing?
Yeah, I just bring them in, and correct me if I'm wrong, 'cause you're the one who does it, but
Yeah.
we just bring them in and they just sit here.
Yep.
Yeah, so we'll put one of those plates in it and put it on cold. So we try to keep it cold so it doesn't do like a spontaneous
Natural fermentation. Yeah.
Yeah, and then what we do, we have a little wine pump, and we call it the spear, but it's a pipe that has a perforated screen around the outside. So we'll stick that in, and we do a pump over on it. We'll do that every day. So you kind of just stick it down there. It sucks juice from the bottom, and you just kind of pump it over the top, and it just kind of keeps it mixed up. And we keep carbon dioxide in them while that's happening, so it doesn't oxidize and all that.
And so all of this is happening, that's like what, late October through November, like up to Thanksgiving time, or?
Yeah, whites, we picked Gruner in August last year, didn't we?
Yeah, no, for sure.
And this year, being that bud break is, even a couple weeks earlier,
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised if we're bringing some whites in, and
Well, and if not August, we're always going by first week of September. It seems like.
Whites will start coming in earlier, and part of that is because whites you're not looking to get as much sugar into the fruit, so they get there a little faster sometimes. And whites generally tend to bud out before reds do.
I see.
And the different years are different too, because we have so many varietals. So sometimes we're bringing in like one varietal, just like this slow trickle that just lasts forever, and other years it seems like we pull like half the reds in at once, and it just chaos for.
That's how I like it. I like to
just get it done.
Yeah.
But a lot of times we're going from like beginning of September all the way through well past Halloween or whatever, somewhere in there, and just.
Yeah.
And then everything goes into casks then after that, or is there some stuff that I don't really know the process? So does some stuff get bottled direct once the fermentation's done, or is there always an aging process?
We do a little bit of Chardonnay and Viognier in barrels, but for the most part the whites are in there just only ever go in stainless.
Some of the whites we want to get out, like you lose the freshness as they get older. So a lot of the whites we'll try to have bottled like by December.
Oh, I see.
To hold their freshness. It depends on what we're looking for.
Because whites are just all about like light and soft and
if we're
everything.
looking for that like crisp thing, like Duncan was saying, if we were looking for like a big buttery Chardonnay, that's not how you're going to get that. You're going to get that through some amount of aging and secondary fermentations and that kind of thing. But most of the whites, like a Sauvignon Blanc, you're looking for that big, fresh, crisp, like minerality kind of thing. Anyways, so those we're going to bottle early, as quickly as we can, kind of a thing, because they're just going to kind of get flabby as they age out. So.
And then you guys do all the bottling in house, or do you have? Because I know some people now like have like services that come, and it's so interesting.
Yeah. So Cal, my grandpa, he wants to have all the equipment here so we can do anything we want.
Yep, to be in control of it. Yeah.
This is our little
Cool.
line here. So we did use the truck a few times. We actually had for years. We had a little 6-stout filler.
Which looked really similar to
Yeah,
this.
it kind of looked like this. And then we had a single, it was just a corking machine was all it did. And then we had a tabletop labeler, and then that thing would put the capsules, the foils that go on the top of the bottles on. So we did that for years. And we kind of outgrew that. And it was like, I remember the first year we used the truck, I was doing the math. I told Kyle, I'm like, I think it's going to take us almost 3 weeks to bottle with all this stuff. And it's like, we don't have time for that. So we used the truck a couple times, realized how expensive it is.
Yep.
So actually, we wound up buying that machine from the folks that run the trucks. They sold it to us. So this machine here, so that one does filling and corking. And then this guy puts capsules and labels on. So basically, you load empty glass and pump wine in down there. And right here, you get a
Finished, ready to go.
Product is ready to go, yeah.
Wow.
So, and we can do about 100, 120 cases an hour with this stuff here.
Wow.
So,
And how many people work along this line as you're doing it?
3.
3. That's
So basically someone loading, somebody unloading, and then I just kind of, make sure we don't run out of labels and keep the corks filled up. And we do some spot checking to make sure that everything's just doing what it's supposed to do. So
right.
I kind of stand around and just monitor, make sure that everything works.
Well, the big thing with having this too is like that, because like the whites thing and whatnot, what we were talking about, like we can bottle whenever with this because we have it, and then we have a warehouse out there we keep full of glass. So again, with the timing thing, like with the red especially, we taste every Friday. We'll go through all the barrels, or not, methodically through the room. So every Friday we try a certain amount of barrels. But yeah, when we're able to now control exactly when we want to bottle.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
That's
it totally makes a massive difference. Like we were just trying this morning actually, because we bottled some Sauv Blanc in December. We still have some in the tank, and it's a world of difference of those 3 months or whatever, So
Yeah. It's kind of the same kind of concept like with the harvester. It's nice to have it because you can pull the trigger right whenever you want to.
Yeah.
And then that's a cross flow filter right there, so we have our own filter too, so we can take care of all that. So it takes, like, if you decide you have a red wine out there you want to bottle, it takes about 3 weeks to get it bottle ready. So we get it out in the barrels, we throw it in a tank, we cold stabilize it, which is basically you just turn the temperature down to about 30 degrees on the tank, let it sit there for a couple weeks, and you get tartrates will come out. You ever see like the little crystals on a cork? We try to get as much of that out here as we can. So we do that, and then you literally just get the wine cold, and it'll stick to the insides of the tank. So then we'll pump it off of all that. We'll leave all that behind, and then we run it through filter just to kind of make sure it's good and stable, and then
bottle up.
bottle.
And our filter's really soft and gentle.
Yeah.
We tried a bunch, and because you don't want to take the fruit out.
That's this right here.
Yep. So actually, it's funny. You always hear a lot of people complain about filtering. I think a lot of times, sometimes when we run a wine through this, it actually tastes better afterwards. So not always, but sometimes. But yeah, this is kind of the industry standard for really, really gentle filtration.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. As I get older, you always think that like, oh, if you have a bunch of equipment, you're not able to be artisan, or you know what I mean? You can't be a person who does craft. And then I think what people are realizing now, especially my generation and probably your guys' generation and everything, is that this allows you to be a better artisan.
Oh yeah.
It's like it's this
tools.
it's a whole different mindset, it's just a new way to do it, especially because labor isn't affordable. And I'm not always sure, I don't know, we should have 1,000 people working on a place that you're paying them as cheap as you possibly can. I'd rather have really well-paid people at less numbers, and then you end up with a better product anyway. It's kind of like the modern farming world that we're seeing now.
Well, to that point, we do a lot of our own lab work and whatnot, and getting equipment that we can do that stuff on is so different because it's a balance, like you're saying, as far as like here's what we're tasting and here's what we like, but now we're able to like check all the numbers and look at everything and like on lab equipment it's the same thing. You can we can taste a wine and say, something seems off on that, or how much residual sugar does that have, and you can pop it in the machine in there, and it 2 minutes later you got a result. It's really nice because we try to not make wine by the numbers per se, but it's really nice to have
as a reference.
Have that. So
well, especially like if you're like the 19 was great. Let's where was that at?
Yeah,
and we can check like what's the difference between these things. Where it turns out the pH on these is wildly different. That's what's making that and then.
So you can understand the profile better by having the data to back it up.
Yeah, exactly. And then you can know where you're trying to shoot for next year.
Yeah, it gives you a good reference point to work from.
So all of this happens, gets bottled, and then next thing is you guys have to sell it, right?
Right.
And so then that's kind of where we're at right now in the state of the industry, right? Like, I would just love to hear your guys' take on where the whole, like, at least not the whole wine industry, but like Southern Oregon, where things are at right now, because I keep hearing through the grapevine of like all my friends and stuff that are in the vineyard world of like how challenging it is right now. Are you guys seeing that? Are you guys finding like just the scale that you're at allows you to just continue to operate as usual, or like are there pains that you guys are feeling right now? Or
I would just say for mine, Spencer could answer this a lot better than I could. We used to sell like 30 tons of fruit every year. The last 2 years we sold 3 tons.
Oh yeah, the fruit sales are
gone.
Oh, you mean to other people that would...
to up north specifically, they're much more limited in what they can and can't grow. The valley has supplied a lot of
because we're such a great growing region.
Yeah, if you'd see like Merlot or Syrah or something up in some of those places, a lot of it's coming from Southern Oregon, and so that dried up 2 years ago. 3 years ago?
No, I want to say something like 2022 or so. I feel like.
Yeah. We used to move about probably a third to 40% of our grape production went elsewhere.
Which for you guys, I bet that was amazing because you have the harvester, right? And so you could, I mean, it seems like the margins would be pretty good with that, as opposed to having to pay for hand labor and if you're just selling raw fruit.
Yeah, well, and it also...
The flexibility was great.
Yeah.
Because then it allowed us to, like, how much we want to make for the tasting room, how much we want to, like, and so year to year you can just be like, well, let's just get rid of that much cab, and we want to hold this much, and we can just, do whatever.
Yep.
And not have to worry about, well, what are we going to do with it now?
Yeah, so, because right now it's real painful. Like we changed our vineyard tactic a lot this year. We're actually not going to farm the entire vineyard this year, which kind of is painful for me, but at the same time, like, we're not going to spend the money on it either. So, but yeah, it would, yeah. It made a few bucks, and it, like Spencer said, we could really kind of do what we wanted to, and now it's like, we grow too much fruit to just make it all into wine.
Yeah.
I see.
So,
so what do you do this year if you're not going to farm it? Do you go and just chop it off?
We pre-pruned it. So if you look out there, about half the vineyard still has a 6 to 9 inch stick on it out there. So we're just going to leave it like that. We're going to mow it and spray it, and that's going to be it. Yeah, because I don't want like a powdery mildew outbreak to,
spread
come from within.
Yeah.
So that's all we're going to do. No hand work on it at all this year.
And then like, I'm sure you just went to this event up north or whatever. I'm sure there was a bunch of people that were all talking about the state of the industry right now. What do you guys feel like the vibe is right now in Oregon, especially?
No, okay, so don't quote me on any of these numbers, but I did just look at a bunch of stuff recently, so I might be a little off on something. But I believe I'm remembering right, like when you're looking at Washington, in Washington, Oregon, California, we are holding out better than Washington and California. That is definitely true. I think sales for us, direct to consumer, which is a big part of our business, we are down in Southern Oregon. I can't remember. It's somewhere around 3%.
Sure.
Something like that. Washington and California are down higher. I want to say closer to 10%. Anyways, point being, so our direct consumer sales are holding out fairly well. The difficult part is there's, a lot of vineyards have come up in the last little bit, and the market's gone down. There's more tasting rooms and that kind of thing. So there's just, just like a traffic problem, if you will, as far as those kind of direct consumer sales. The bigger, wider world of like distributing, being in grocery stores and that kind of stuff, that has become a whole other thing. There's just so many people offloading cheap wine to try to get it gone, that the market's just completely flooded right now with that kind of stuff. Which just becomes a production issue. So, I mean, luckily for us, we have that flexibility that we're not just growing fruit just to sell. Yep. So we are able to take it and maybe sell it as bulk wine or sell people custom labels. We've been doing a lot of custom label work with different businesses, a few in Portland, a few in the, and again, the fact that we're able to do everything on site here allows us to do a lot of that pain-free, if you will. So, we've tried to shift a lot of our focus into trying to get more of the distribution stuff and whatnot as to rely on a larger market versus just what's happening in our little local thing here. But that being said, the vineyards around here, I think we're, I would pat everybody on the back and say, I think
we're doing a good job. We're making good wine. We're getting recognized for that more and more. So we are getting more and more recognition and whatnot, which is bringing more and more out of state folks and whatnot, and bringing more traffic to the area, which is great. And I do think the bar's, gone up equally. As everybody's kind of, it's you're in a community.
Wasn't there something this year where they said like Southern Oregon is the new Sonoma or something like that?
Yeah, there's been a few things, and
I was like, wow. I was like, well, I mean, I think it's a great place here, but I was like, wow, that's a bold statement.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. No, I know the one that I saw that seemed like got the most attention this year was what was it? USA Today or one of those did like a Reader's Choice Awards. It was like a national thing, and the Rogue Valley got second best wine region in the U.S. on that by the people. So anyways,
that had to help. It couldn't hurt, right?
Totally. Yeah. No, and I think the more that stuff happens, the more than like a distributor in Illinois or wherever wants, is interested in trying the wines from here and all that kind of stuff. So, so I think, the other nice thing is I think, versus other places, we're a younger market, so there's more upward growth like available to us, where I think California knows it's already, they're feeling the shrink a lot harder than us.
Right.
I would imagine, at least, because.
Well, maybe I always think about this too, like a lot of those mature markets probably were on this upward growth curve.
Yeah.
And they were just following the curve.
Yeah.
And they kind of got out ahead of themselves.
Oh yeah. Totally.
Where you have this like younger markets like here where people are maybe a little bit more conservative with their growth that they're doing, and so they were able to kind of contract quicker.
Well, and the monster that we have to feed is 45 acres, which in comparison to the other things we're talking about, how would you even, what do you do if you have, if we have a few extra tons of this and that.
Right, as opposed to a place that's maybe, I like driving through San Luis Obispo or places like that where it's just thousands and thousands of acres. It's a whole different ballgame.
Totally. Yeah. Well, I mean, a great example, on the fruit sales thing we were talking about, one of our big clients that was up in Salem, they grow on their property 120 acres of, it's just Pinot Noir is all it is. And they quit buying from us because they lost their fruit contracts on that 100 acres. And she called and said, I don't even know what I'm going to do with my own grapes, let alone, I can't take yours, so it's, so anyway, point is it's a big monster.
So are we just at a pain point right now in the industry, or is this how it is now for a while? Or I'm just so curious, maybe you guys don't know, but I'm just so curious, what it means going.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, because COVID happened, and during that time, there was everybody thought that it was going to be so detrimental to the industry. But that being said, there was all this distribution stuff that happened, and all these different avenues of selling things that opened up, and then as soon as that was over, it was there was this giant wave of coming back to all the wineries, and everybody had their biggest summers ever, because everybody wanted to get back out, and and the fact that we all have nice outdoor spaces didn't hurt, and all that kind of stuff, so we were and then just shortly thereafter, it's just the market, it felt like it got huge all of a sudden, and then just shrank, and so, I don't really know if I could, speak to where it's going to go. I know a lot of people say that there's probably a little bit longer. You probably need to wait for the supply to get cut back a little farther than it has before it's going to rebound.
Well, especially because you're dealing with a perennial plant, right?
Oh yeah.
It's people are you plant. It's not like with me, you put lettuce in the ground and then your harvest window is this, and it comes out and then that supply is gone. It's you're talking perennial vineyards that take years to build up to a certain point, right?
Well, and the other thing is too, with the stuff that was picked, when we were making decisions, we're making decisions on the reds, generally speaking, we're about 4 years out from selling a bottle, because it's gonna, we're gonna harvest it, we're gonna barrel age it for 18 months, then it's gonna get aged in the bottle for another 18 months, and then yada yada yada. So point being, the stuff that the decisions we're making now will come into effect 3 years from now on the reds, so the supply problems and things that we're having and whatnot, we got to deal with the decision we made in 2023 still, that's where we're at right now.
It's a whole different kind of production market.
It really is. It's because you're especially on the reds.
And the reds are what kind of carry the industry as a whole. Is that true or no?
So I would say, to be honest, I don't know exactly. I would say for us here, we have a pretty 50-50 split as far as the volume from reds to whites, and we're pretty split 50-50. So
You guys have stayed diverse, and it seems like in a lot of things, like that is really smart, I think, in the long term.
yeah, no, it's helped us for sure. I'm not sure we did that on purpose, but
It is. It does help. It can make a lot to juggle sometimes to keep track of everything and all that.
What kind of, like, looking forward for you guys? What's like? What do you think about when you're thinking ahead? Now, whether it's about the vineyard, about the winery, about your families. Like, I'm sure as your kids get older, right? I mean, things change, your mindset change. Mine is for sure. Now that my kids are getting close to being out of high school, so I'm just always curious what, from an agricultural standpoint, and balancing family and life, like what is there in the future for you guys? What do you think about?
oh man.
I know. Come on, lay it out, man.
Yeah, I mean, I know for me that that gets, because we are all family here, so those kind of all wrapped together and whatnot, and but yeah, I mean, I think getting for me, I would say getting the stuff settled as far as like right now there's a lot of I don't want to say scrambling necessarily, but like figuring out, there's a lot of putting the pieces together, like how do we get this moved? How do we get this moved? What are the avenues? I'm hoping to get some of that settled out in the next couple of years to where we have like a solid structure and pipeways, to get things out that we can expect, and which part of where this goes sales wise and where this goes, and to where that's not, that feels like a big unknown and juggling and scrambling right now with some of the stuff, like, okay, well, here's what we're doing for this, and then like that leaves this, and then so let's find an avenue we can get that out, and I'm hoping to be done with that, and that would
Finding stability and like some sort of semblance of order or whatever.
Yeah,
I get
exactly.
it, man.
Figuring out, yeah, exactly what I guess what I would say is what the new model looks like. In 2018, 19, we had a very clear picture of like, this is what we're doing, this is the direction we're going, and I think now we're repositioning with some of that and figuring out like, how big do we want the vineyard to be, and what are the, fruit sales are gone, what do we want to do with that, and all that kind of stuff. And I think trying to get our heads wrapped around that is probably the next step.
Yeah. No, I would probably second most of that. Yeah, I'd love to get it to where my dream would be someday if we had outlets for all this stuff to be able to be making more wine, and it'd be great to keep all the grapes we grow here, make it into wine and have consistent or reliable outlets for all that, but we're clearly not there right now. So, but yeah, in the short term, I'd love to get the fruit sales thing back on track. That would be helpful. So
that's a big one.
It's not a huge moneymaker, but it does bring some income in.
Well, and it's that volume, right?
Yeah. So it'd be great to.
Well, and it's a great cushion to say like we're going to sell this fruit while we work up like our outside sales in other states and that kind of thing, and gives us a way to keep farming it and keep everything active, but also gives us a way to be like, okay, now we need that, and we have it,
right? I'd like to get back to that. Point. So, but I don't know. Yeah, I guess we'll have to kind of see what happens with the market over the next few years, and see, you get the crystal ball out,
Oh man, it's tough.
Figure out what's happening.
or call some wineries in Europe and say, you guys have been doing this for 600 years or whatever. Like, how do you guys? Because I always wonder about that. They have to have been through the rise and fall of
numerous times, I'm sure. Yeah,
marketplaces and everything, and now we're in this modern global industry, and like, what does that mean? And yeah, it's interesting. Any other things you guys want to add? Anything top of mind?
I don't think so.
Yeah. That's good. I'm glad you guys showed me around. This is really cool.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. Word. Okay, cool. We'll call it there.
Okay.
Yeah.